Hello and welcome back to NoBS. Today we turn to talking about one of the formerly greatest singers of our generation, someone who used to be really famous and cool, but now is kind of sliding off. I'm of course talking about Beyonce Knowles. Beyonce or Bey or Queen Bey as they like to call her sometimes. She's been highly regarded in many influential communities, most notably the black communities, the leftists, the liberals, and the BLM types. Beyonce is a big hero for them, and they always try to act like she's the best singer of all time and just like amazing and infallible. But I have to say, right from the beginning, I just don't get it. I'm not really big on Beyonce. I'm not really impressed. I know she had a few good songs back in the day. I actually used to be a listener of Destiny's Child. I grew up on that kind of pop music and that kind of like influential kind of hip hop meets pop. And those singers were really good in that group. And Beyonce even had some hits after her Destiny's Child days. She had a few good songs. She was even in a movie that was pretty funny. She was in the movie Goldmember, the third Austin Powers movie. So she certainly had her own heyday, but she's well past that. She's starting to get washed up, and it's showing in her new work. Basically, what's happened is she no longer makes like normal traditional music. She doesn't really do cool or fun stuff anymore. Like the last normal thing I saw her do was she did one of the voices on the Lion King remake that came out last year. But besides that, her music has been kind of strange. She's done a few collaborations. She did a duet album with her husband, Jay-Z, which we'll get more to about him later. But next, we're talking about really is her new album, or as they're calling it, a visual album that's actually being released on Disney Plus. That's right, the supposedly family-friendly network and new streaming services releasing this new Beyonce album, and it's called Black is King. It's like really, really racially motivated and woke, and she's trying to pander hardcore. So we're going to talk about it a lot today. We're going to talk about her family, and how this whole pandering to black cultures comes off really cringe. And I think she's really just doing it to make money. So we're going to get to all that soon. But first, let's take a quick moment to check out our sponsor. Did you know after the age of 20, your body produces about 10% less collagen each passing decade? The visible result ends up being an appearance of wrinkles, flaky skin, hair loss, and dirty nails as we age. That's why Ageless Multi-Collagen was created. And that's why I have this great offer for you only at healthwithnobs.com. Now, BioTrust is our secure supplier of Ageless Multi-Collagen, and you could get up to 50% off while supplies last. As you can see in this picture, you'll get this nice sealed bag of collagen, and it's really an easy thing to use. You take a spoonful and put it in your drink each day. As you can see here, they put it in a coffee. You could put it in tea, water, soda, whatever you may like. You can mix in a scoop, and it's going to make you feel better. You're going to have health benefits. It's a perfect high quality protein source. It's an immunity defending with its amino acids, 10 grams of which per serving, and it contains all 5 essential types of collagen, which are really going to make you start feeling great right away. You're going to notice differences in your skin, your hair, your nails, everything. So check out BioTrust today by visiting healthwithnobs.com. Check out that link below. Thanks for your time, and now back to the show. Great, now that that's out of the way, let's get back to Beyonce. This article has more details. It says, Beyonce unveils trailer for Disney Plus visual album called Black is King. And before we even get to the details, I want to talk more about Bey a little bit. Beyonce, of course, is married to Jay-Z. Her and her husband have really been hardcore political ever since the Obama era, at least. I mean, I'm not sure what they were at before that, but by that point, by 2008, they were really famous and they were promoting the Obamas. They got him elected twice. They tried to vote for Hillary Clinton and promote her, but that didn't work out. And yeah, basically that's the background. Bey and Jay-Z are these huge leftists, and they're also known to have sorts of corrupted past. Like Jay-Z has been caught cheating on Beyonce. They had a whole issue about that. Also, Jay-Z was formerly a criminal. He dealt illegal items and got himself in trouble back in the day and spent a lot of his rap career bragging about that. But that's really besides the point. The real problem now is their woke culture and them trying to pander to black people. Specifically for Beyonce, it's a little hypocritical. It's a little irksome for me. I mean, first of all, look at her in this picture. I mean, she hardly even looks like she's black. She's actually half black. And if you look into her past, like she's actually not as pro-black as you might think. Like this is a new thing for her. As you can see, before we get to the new story, this is a former story that says, I'm just jealous I wasn't born Latina. This is a quote from Beyonce in 2007. So back in the past, she was definitely less woke, and she definitely has been putting on this whole black act more recently. And I'm not trying to hate on her. I know she's half black. I'm not really being defensive of that community. I'm just pointing it out. It's kind of strange because now she has this big new thing where she's like black is king and she's trying to act more black than ever. And it just seems really convenient, and especially considering current events. So you got to look at her past and say, hey, she wishes she was a Latina. And obviously the way she dressed and acted before, she was, I would say, prettier, and also just not really trying to be as much black. Like she was just trying to be, I don't know, almost want to say white. Like she's looking more like neutral in these pictures. But now she's definitely going for the black look, and she's trying to be full-fledged African. And I think that's just the worst part because, she's not that black. Her parents were one black and then one chick was Creole. I think her mom was half black, but there's actually a story. If you look back, there's some pretty revealing quotes, and Beyonce's dad actually thought his mom was white. So he dated her thinking she was white at the beginning. So that means she must have looked white. And basically, I'm just pointing that out. I'm not trying to be a purist or anything. I don't really care. But when you see someone coming out and they're saying, I'm hardcore black, and then they're also making money off of it. So you got to remember, this is all about the paper. This is all about her trying to get rich. So considering the fact that Beyonce is this far removed from actual black culture, and then also she's trying to go back to Africa, it's just really strange. And it seems like it's a pandering thing. It seems like she's trying to get money too. Like she's trying to use this idea to make her money and to sell albums. And I mean, it kind of makes sense. Not that they need money. I think they're already like billionaires. Like Jay-Z has a giant empire of all kinds of businesses. But the point is, she's trying to make money on her new albums by fronting this whole black thing and acting all woke. And if you see the visual album, I can't show any clips here, but it's all about African stuff. Like it's all her trying to act like she's from Africa and she's totally African. She's some kind of queen that lives in Africa. It's really cringe and it's really hardcore. And it's also just going like really far back. Like, I mean, most African Americans haven't even been to Africa in like hundreds of years, like they try to complain about these things in our past and how black people had issues in America hundreds of years ago. Well, you got to remember they were here 100 years before that. So going all a bit way back to Africa is a bit of a stretch. And yeah, put that all together and you're just like, damn, Beyonce is really falling off. She can't make money and sell albums normally. So she has to pandering to this leftist stuff. So with that said, let's read on to the article and see what else is going on. Beyonce has released a trailer for her new visual album, Black is King, which aims to promote the beauty of tradition and black excellence. The film will premiere globally on Disney Plus on the 31st of July and is a reimagining of the live-action remake of The Lion King with music from Beyonce's album, The Lion King: The Gift, which was released last year. Little is known about the narrative elements of the project, but Jay-Z, Kelly Rowland, Naomi Campbell, Pharrell Williams will all feature. It is described as a visual album that reimagines the lessons of The Lion King for today's young kings and queens in search of their own crowns. So already sounding really cringe, really woke. And yeah, we're getting back to the Lion King thing again. Like I said, she voiced in that movie, and that was like the last regular thing she did. But now she's like spinning it off into this visual album and making a whole fuss about it and trying to get even more woke with it. I mean, I think the whole movie, the Lion King remake, was already pretty woke. Like they made a point to cast all these black people as the voices of these animals in a movie set in Africa based on a cartoon. It's really ridiculous. We talked about this at the time, like a few years back when they announced the casting and Disney was trying to be all woke about it, saying, oh, we hired black actors for this movie set in Africa. But it's like, yeah, but they're playing lions and tigers and birds and all this other stuff. I mean, it's really a silly concept. And it just takes further to that step. Like we talked about before, how these leftists and these liberals and social justice warriors, they're really keen on casting right now, especially in big blockbuster movies. And that has made the studios and people starting up projects like Disney, that's made them use that as an advertising gimmick. So they're advertising it. It's a gimmick. It's a way to try to get more people to watch their movie as saying, hey, look, we're virtue signaling. We're waving at you. We're woke. We've got black people in our movie. Let's make sure that you go see it. So that's another way that they're just kind of exploiting the situation. And then the overall situation that we're all experiencing heavily this summer is just like the racial tensions in America. The Democrats are trying to get things all excited before the election. We're all voting in November. It's less than 100 days away from now. So things are heating up, like quite literally, like literally heating up because the summer is hot. They're also getting hot on the streets with all these riots and different demonstrations going wrong. And this is part of that. This is part of the racial element. And Beyonce has been a part of that for a while. We've seen her get political and woke before in public. We've seen her as a choice for the halftime show at a Super Bowl, which was kind of ill-fitting when it happened. It was a few years back. And there's nothing wrong with Beyonce. Again, I get it, but she's not that popular anymore. She's not the kind of style that fits an NFL crowd. And on top of that, she made it all about like BLM, and she had all these black people on stage, and she had this whole thing for the halftime show. So this is just another version of that. It's just another version of Beyonce pandering and trying to get woke and trying to get popularity from it. She's really trying to like get the black people to watch her again. And it's kind of funny, like we said in the beginning, like she started off with a predominantly white audience too. Like she started off with a white image and pandered to like the whole country, which is actually more honorable. She was just kind of open for business for whoever wanted to listen. But now she's like focusing in on one crowd, and she's trying to get like this new niche that's kind of super frustrating and kind of offensive. Like I would be a little offended if I was black. Like I'm not trying to speak for anyone that's black, but if I saw this happen, I would be like, whoa, that's a little too much. Like, lady, you're not even like black. Black is King was shot in South Africa, West Africa, Belgium, Los Angeles, New York, and London over the course of a year, with Beyonce serving as executive producer alongside a creative team that included the Dutch-Ghanaian filmmaker Emmanuel Adjei and Ghanaian pop star Blitz Blazawool and Belgian visual artist Pierre Duboucheret. Those are some hard names, so I probably got all that wrong. But I think it just goes to the wokeness of it. This reminds me of another story. We'll get to one about George R. Martin. He actually almost got canceled for pronouncing names wrong like that. But I mean, what are we supposed to do? This is an English language. I'm speaking in an American country, talking about American figures. If they have these other names, that's fine. Good for them. But it's going to get a little confusion when it's like too hard to say. Like, what is this? Debouchere or whatever? Like, that's really tough, but that's fine. Okay. In 2016, Beyonce released her sixth record, Lemonade, as a visual album with a premiere on HBO that featured poetry by the Somali British poet Orson Shire, with segments that were shot by a group of filmmakers, including the Queen and Slim director Melina Masukos and Khalil Joseph. So this actually says a lot more than you think. You got to look into it. You don't really see it in the words, but think about 2016. What else happened in 2016? That's right. That was our last election. That was the last time we had BLM popping up and all these racial tensions. And surprise, surprise, it's also the same year that Beyonce came out with her last album, last visual album. So I think the similarities between 2016 and 2020 are apparent. And I think it's obvious, like we said from the beginning, Beyonce is falling off. She's trying to regain relevance by getting racialized. And she's also trying to pander to leftists and SJWs in the BLM crowd as a way to make money, as a way for her to just stay famous too. Like we said, she's already rich. They're already having billions of dollars in that family. So a lot of it's not about money anymore. They will still get lots of money, but it's also about influence and controlling narratives. They want to get their politicians elected. Jay-Z wants to go back to the White House. That's like what they did with Obama. Obama was like their best friend, and he brought this, admitted criminal and philanderer to the White House because he's a famous person. Like Beyonce is wanting to get in on that again. So that's why it happened in 2016. That's why it's happened in 2020. And that's what brings us to today's video. That about wraps things up. I think you guys get the point. Beyonce, Queen Bey, is getting woke once again with this silly video and song. And I think it's just already going to show, like, I haven't heard of any of the songs off of her album or the last Lemonade album. And I keep up, like, I listen to a lot of radio. I download a lot of new music. I don't just listen to certain genres either. So the fact of the matter is they're irrelevant. I don't want to be that guy, that Asian Jake Paul guy, say everyone's irrelevant. But that's the point with Beyonce. She's trying to get in it with this woke stuff, and it's just looking really, really cringe and kind of offensive and racist. I wonder what other actual black people would think about this. So that's why I'm going to turn to the comments. If anyone out there has any thoughts, whether or not you're black or white or whatever, give us some comments below. Tell us what you think about this story, what you think about Beyonce, her visual album, and just the timing of these issues. She's getting woke on election year once again, which I find pretty suspect. So tell me what you guys think. Comment your thoughts below. Also hit that like button if you enjoyed today's video. And until next time, have a great day.